But no, now
there we go. Dude, I'm such a fucking noob. Every time.
Why?
Every time I see, like, I'm always afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm always a little hesitant to say some things more like, graphically as
like controversial.
Discussing. Yeah, controversial maybe a little bit before the recording is in place, right? But I always forget that there's a pop-up that tells me when you start the recording.
Yeah, there is now. There didn't used to be.
Yeah, there didn't used to be. That's true. Yeah. That's why I used to.
Yeah. So they like force it now to make sure that anybody who's on with you knows that you're recording. Like you have to give a prompt, same thing with like you call into a customer service thing and it's like, this call may be recorded, blah, 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 for training purposes. Like you have to be advised as a participant that something's being recorded. So like Zoom made that a thing. And I don't think you can turn it off either, which is whatever. Who cares? Hey, I do have a story to tell you because you do work out. So I just got back from the gym a little bit ago. And there was this lady who walked up to me and I was on like this tricep machine and she walked up to me and she goes like real snark. Like she had like a fucking bandana on, like a headband. And she looked like she was either going to play tennis or racquetball. I couldn't tell, but she was definitely an older gal. Okay. She walks up to me.
50s, 60s?
Yeah, 50s for sure. 50s for sure. I mean, like deep embedded in 50s. I mean, she's turning the corner into like 56, 57, probably. Like, what do your triceps need, you old bag?
Okay.
But she walks up to me and I just looked at my watch because I have my, like workout app on my watch. So I look down and say, okay, how much time have I spent on this particular thing? I look down at my watch and I'm kind of just reading it and I'm scrolling through some stuff. And I hit play on my podcast again, maybe 15 seconds on my watch. And I look up and she's standing there. She goes, excuse me, how much longer are you going to be on this machine? And I was like, well, I just got here and I have like at least another 2 or 3 sets. And she audibly goes, ugh. And I was like, well, no, I was like, and to the left, to the left, oh, total Karen, to the left and to the right of me are 2 tricep machines, very similar to the one that I'm on, that are both open and accessible. By the way, if you've ever worked out tricep before, there is literally 30 different workouts that you can do for your triceps. I mean, it's probably in terms of a muscle group, more opportunities to work out that muscle group with different variations of stuff than any other muscle. And I literally go, well, there's this machine here and there's this machine here. So you could grab one of these 2. And she was like, I don't like those ones. And I was like, then I don't know what to tell you. And she was like, can you just hurry up? And I was like, oh, bitch. Nope. Dude, I stayed on the same machine
for like 10 minutes,
25 minutes.
No,
I burnt my triceps out. They're so sore right now. And she kept getting on other machines around me and staring at me. And I was just like, ah. And the whole time I was going, ah. There's people around me looking at me too. Like I could tell they're like, I like what this guy's doing right now. Cause there was people around me that could hear her like saying, well, I don't like those machines. That's not what I want to do. I was like, bitch, that ain't my problem. I'm sorry.
Bitch, that ain't my problem.
And I'd be like, dude, what are you going to do for those bat wings anyway? There's no way you're going to shapen up those triceps. You got more skin on those arms. We'll never even see your triceps. Anyway, just dude, shit that just pisses me off. I swear to God. Anyway, so we have a packed filled episode today and so Alex, you're coming on as my co-host today because Chris has been sick for an extended period of time and who knows when it's going to end. It may never end. The entirety of 2022 may just be Chris being sick. So you may have to be my permanent co-host. I may not have a choice. Chris may just be bedridden for the entire year. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Going for a month 2 now. So
dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. He's missed out on so much. It's like, dude, you're missing out on so much. You're missing out on all the fun. What are you doing? Like the episode with John and Matt was so much fun. It was great. It was so fun. So it's like you're missing out on all this cool shit because you just, take an immune booster or something. Like just take some vitamin C, some vitamin D, simple vitamin D. A fucking just a 1 a day. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just compound vitamins, shove them in that body and you'll be fine. Yeah. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to first start off and reflect on the year of 2021, because back in 2020, I think everybody said, there's no way 2021 could be worse than 2020. There's no way. In your opinion, which one was better and which one was worse? Did 2021 get better over 2020, or is it in fact a worse year? Should we also scribble it off existence?
I mean, not really. I don't think I don't want to speak on a personal level, but I want to speak in general things that I saw. Obviously 2020 was very tumultuous with, and I want to focus a little bit on USA, right? Presidential kind of mayhem there for a little bit, change of presidency and administration. And then you've got the core of this virus that had a lot of people pretty uncertain. And then others that were more realistic to what was going to happen, essentially understanding how viruses works. I mean, just got to Google yellow fever and stuff like that. You know, it's there's more technology. There's a lot of things that, you know, we're taking out of proportion. But I think that who didn't adapt in 2021 from 2020 was somebody who really couldn't. So if you had the opportunity to adapt in 2021, however costly that was, it was going, like, long term, it would probably pay off. And I say this in a lot of senses. I mean, you know, lifestyle, jobs, your businesses, whoever owns any business, you know, ways of spending your money, saving your money, you know, a lot of things. I think 2021 was not worse than 2020 if we focus, you know, in our immediate socioeconomic, social political, social cultural spectrums. If we take a little, you know, a little deeper, a little more open, say globally, I want to say it's kind of the same. A lot of countries demonstrated similar patterns. I mean, you see Australia is still locked down. It's crazy. Australia has, I mean, we talk about Australians. I would say it couldn't have gotten worse in 2020. It got worse in 2021.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I can't believe there's just not this crazy uprising. I mean, there was to an extent, but it's like, now it's really a battle of people versus government because of this. It's not.
But here's the thing. This is a perfect opportunity for other nations to understand that even though they will eventually, you know, rise up, and, you know, there are a lot of public gatherings going on right now, and marches and protestations and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
dude, Australians don't own guns. I mean, this would happen in other countries. I'm not going to point to the USA or other American countries, or even European countries like Spain and France that have had really aggressive lockdowns, but they have no citizens do not possess guns in Australia.
A means to protect themselves against the government, you know, which the irony in that is, I remember at one time when in the United States, and this wasn't that long ago, I would say in the recent 10 years, where you started to see an amplification of gun violence, right? And then in the media certainly exacerbated those things, like certain shootings, mass shootings in certain areas. There was the guy that was in Las Vegas, you know, up in the high rise, firing down at people at that concert, right? There was all these things that happened. And I remember at one time, our government, or at least the liberal side of our government, said, well, what we need to concentrate on is countries like Australia, where the current crime is so low. The crime is so low in Australia because there are no guns. And I think sometimes people forget the reason why we have laws that say citizens can arm themselves in the United States is not to protect us from other people. It's to protect ourselves from the government. It's the reason why that exists. So now you're seeing things in Australia where you're right. They don't have a means to protect themselves against a government of which, if they want to implement a rule or they want to set conditions as far as the things that you have to do, you have no ability to fight back. There is no resistance. So it is kind of interesting how it's like those two variables and how one can spin one way and one can spin the other. And then now you have a country that's like essentially being oppressed, which is freaking crazy, because Australia is, you know, if you were to say, hey, what are countries that you could state off the top of your head have certain civil liberties and freedoms, Australia would certainly be at the top of that list. You know what I mean? It is a free country, and it's like, not now. It's not. It's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah. I also meant it in the way that, you know, how would the people be like? Would we see different reactions if the civilians were armed? And would that necessarily be a positive thing for them? I mean, this is a democratic, government. So they elected whoever's running the government. And I don't believe there's an oppression. There is a very extreme regulation. And if they can prove with, redundant statistics that, they're keeping people healthier and safer that way, well, then that may be a positive example to take out of, and not saying that it should be replicated, but how people are reacted, how long people have taken to actually, take up a stand and say, no, I'm going out of my house. I mean, I need to breathe some fresh air. I want to go surfing or, hug a koala or something.
Go punch a kangaroo in the face.
Go punch a kangaroo. Exactly. I'll do it just for a little bit. I mean, just consciously. I mean, you take a look at some states and cities in the US that are being pretty careful about this thing, but then you have Miami.
Right. Yeah. You have the whole state of Florida that's like, fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, other cities and counties in Florida, north are still have some restrictions and you're going to be in Orlando and different cities and they're going to have completely different regulations than Miami and Dade County. I mean, this city
where you're at, it's like business is open.
Booming. It has been pretty open for like a year and change. You don't really see it.
Right.
You see a lot of free COVID testing tents pop up exponentially so, but other than that, everything is just
right. Yeah, it's business as usual, I think, and it has been for an extended period of time. I think what's interesting too is that I'm not an epidemiologist and I'm not a scientist. I'm not a researcher. I try to absorb as much information as I can. But I think just going back to Australia, it's like, and part of my head and my thinking goes, are you just delaying the inevitable? I understand that they were keeping those restrictions as tight as they could and keeping people safe until there was, enough vaccines to get people vaccinated. But now we know it's like, when's enough? Because then we look at the recession of the vaccine within our bodies over a 6-month period. Then you have to have a booster. So then it's like, do you just keep people locked up forever? Or at some point you have to make a decision as a country to open things back up and to have people released back in the wild? Because here's the reality. There's also harmful mental implications that exist too, like keeping people in cages.
Yeah,
I don't mean literally in cages, but if you just use the example of your house, not having, we are social creatures and not having the ability to socialize with other people. I mean, dude, it takes a toll on you mentally. And we've already seen implications of that throughout the past 2 years. And I would say, Australia and some other countries are probably an extreme to that because everything is essentially closed. So it's a weird thing to me, man. I do agree. In just 2021, that's like not good.
So do you think when Antonio Brown released his message saying that he was, he was suffering more of his actual mental issues from being caged up by the Bucks? Do you think that was kind of a message? He was trying to tell the people that they should kind of, rebel,
have a little uprising. Exactly. Potentially. I don't know if AB's got that kind of influence though. A lot of people just look at that guy and go, dude, you're nuts. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
His press release was certainly well written. So
it was really well written. After I read it, so it's like, there was that whole situation that was the surface level aspect of it was, okay, we see Antonio Brown take off his shoulder pads, take off his shirt, run off the field, wave to the fans, and then he's gone. And then everybody's like, what's going on? Right. So your big media guys of the world, Adam Schefter or whatever his name is, and some of the other guys they're essentially just tweeting out, Antonio Brown left the field, but there's no real information, right? And then Bruce Arians comes out and says, okay, Antonio Brown's no longer on the team, which of course you literally left mid-game. Then you start to hear, okay, well, he was injured and as a result, he didn't want to go on the field and he was being forced to, and so on and so forth. But I would say Antonio Brown certainly has a history of, I would say, extreme ego. He definitely has some mental issues. There's no doubt. I did say at one time, I remember when Antonio Brown was hit on a play years ago. I said it's the one play that when he got hit, when he came back the next week, he had a bleached mustache. He got hit so hard it bleached his mustache. It damn near, I mean, it's fucked him up. And I'm not like using the CTE excuse or anything like that. I don't know.
No.
But I would say he's definitely one of those guys that's controversial and always has been on and off the field. So I'm not surprised he did what he did, and I'm not surprised the Bucs reacted the way that they did. Here's the reality: he's going to get picked up. It's playoff time. There will be a team that's going to go, yep, we need to make a run, so let's go.
Of course, and you know what? I think who should potentially pick him up? Titans,
Rams.
No, the Rams are stacked. They're good.
They're good, but are they good enough to win a Super Bowl at this point?
Dude, if
you think you'd see AB in Green Bay?
No.
That to me, I think would be wild.
That would be wild. Devontae Adams and AB, that would be criminal. But also, yeah, Cooper Kupp and AB would be insane.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: what do you do with the Bucs? You know, I'm a Brady fan, right?
Yeah,
we've covered this, right?
Of course.
Chris Godwin is gone. He had surgery. He's not coming back.
Right.
Now AB's gone.
Yep.
We do.
You don't win a Super Bowl is what happens.
No. Oh, this is what makes Brady win another Super Bowl.
Do you think so? You think the adversity is going to help him push through?
Honestly, I think they can.
I'm not saying they can't. But here's the thing. I don't ever bet against Brady, ever. Like Brady specifically. I don't mean the team. I don't mean Bruce Arians. I don't mean the Bucs. I mean Brady specifically is somebody that I would never bet against, but the odds aren't necessarily in their favor at this point. That's all I'm saying. But the odds weren't in their favor when they won it last year either. So it's like,
correct.
Who the hell knows?
Do you sign T.O.?
Oh my God. What is he, 45 now? 48. And he's like, I can still play. Put me in. You're like, God. Honestly, was he 38 or 48?
48.
And he's still built like a fucking guy. His body looks insane.
He ran a dash against Tyreek Hill.
I saw the video of that
a couple months ago, and it was close.
It was close. I mean, he's got a much bigger stride. You just have Tyreek Hill has that explosive speed. That's the difference.
He's fast. He's one of the fastest guy on the planet. So
yeah, it's insane. But yeah, dude, T.O. is he's a whole nother level of monster.
But here's the thing. Going back to what you said about AB and his ego, here's the thing. Primetime used to be like that.
Agreed.
I mean, he wasn't as controversial. Obviously, there wasn't as much media exposure back then, 20 years ago. But look at Primetime go. Look at his attitude. I see a very strong correlation between Antonio Brown and Primetime. So
I would agree to that.
So here's the thing. Maybe it's not really his ego. Maybe it's that I don't think he gets the recognition of being arguably one of the best wide receivers of all freaking time.
Yeah, but he kind of screwed himself, right? Like he screwed himself on the Steelers. He screwed himself. It's like, what do you, if you're a coach of a team, how much do you tolerate?
Yeah, I mean, again, listen, I don't want to take AB's side, not necessarily, but he kind of has a point in a way. I mean, I see that these players in many ways get played by teams. And I'm not saying he was necessarily getting played by them. I think he took a risk, and thankfully for him, I didn't think he was going to be back. Paid off before. So after Pittsburgh, after the whole Pittsburgh blow up, and then Patriots blow up again, and you're like, oh my God, when is this going to stop? And then
there was a Raiders blow up, right?
The Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy. Yeah. I mean, well, I think too, it's just like, I think that it honestly does come down to what kind of person he is in the locker room. Because there's things that people said come out back into the Steelers and are like, listen, when he was at the Steelers as long as he was, it's not that the ego didn't exist. It was not out in the open. There's teammates that have been quoted and cited saying like, he's one of the worst fucking teammates.
That was Le'Veon Bell. So he can suck something.
Yeah, well, there's others. It's not just Le'Veon, but Le'Veon Bell is also an idiot.
Exactly.
He's more of an idiot for sure.
He's 1,000% more of an idiot.
Yeah, he's dumb. And here's the thing: I've always liked him. I think Antonio Brown is just a hell of a fucking player and is a crazy talent. It's just, part of me is just like, can you just fucking play football? Like, can you just get on the field and just play football and not create the controversy? Like, even if how like there's sometimes people say, even if you're right, just shut your fucking mouth. Like, and I'm not saying that it just seems like there's a lot of things that get blown up just because he decides he wants to open his mouth, and it just never really has to go that far. This instance, he was obviously willing. He knew consciously, I'm willing to leave this team because of what a coach told me to do. If that in fact is what happened. And I know he said, he's like, hey, listen, I have text messages with Bruce Arians. We already talked to the team doctors. We were all on the same page. My ankle was screwed. There's no way I should have been going in the game. He tells me to go in the game. I tell him to go fuck himself. I walk off the field. He consciously made the decision to do that, knowing there was no coming back. Hey, once I leave this field, it's done. Like, the team isn't going to be like, hey, you're going to be at practice Monday. No, nope. You're done. And he knew that. And here's the thing. If he's in the right on that, I fully support that. That's why I didn't say anything after it happened. It was like, people just said, oh, he's crazy. He's doing Antonio Brown things. I'm like, well, we haven't heard a side of the story yet. Like, we don't know what's going on. Contextually, we have no clue what's going on right now. We have no idea.
You know what I think is going to happen? I haven't looked at the news today. I usually don't. I just sometimes I'll open up YouTube and go to like Schefter and see NFL films, whatever.
Right.
If he's so willing to go as far as getting NFL films to make public the sideline mics and stuff, because everybody's mic'd up. Sideline mic'd up. You can be 1,000% sure that interaction was recorded, right? So
yeah, for sure.
If he's willing to do that and the Bucks aren't,
then you know. Yep.
It's gonna mean something. But if the Bucks go as far as to do that, like how is Goodell going to regulate that? Like, how is he going to potentially intervene or not from this controversy? I mean, it's like I want to say, like, controlling controversies in leagues and presidencies and cabinets, whatever. The first thing you do is you shut everybody up, right? So if there is a chance that Bruce Arians was in the wrong and the Bucks were in the wrong, Goodell's going to control this, right?
Right. Of course.
So I think AB wins either way. That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, the only reconciliation I see at this point is the potential for that extra money, right? Because that's what we were talking about, roughly $1 million on the line. So if he wanted to fight it,
he doesn't care. He's going to get another contract.
Well, I know, but and so that's what I'm saying. I think more importantly, it's the aspects of being right or wrong in the situation, and I don't know what repercussions would come about from either side of that. But then also it was like, you still have $1 million on the line that you would have potentially obtained, which he probably would have, if we're being honest. Like, Brady helped him obtain it in the previous year. He was like, oh, I just need to throw one more pass to Antonio Brown. Then he gets another $250K. Cool. Yeah. Here's your completion. Come in the game. I'm going to toss it to you. You get 2 yards and boom, get your bonus. So again, I agree with you. That's probably not, maybe it is a little bit more important for Antonio Brown now because, at one time, I think everyone could argue he should have been the highest paid athlete in the NFL.
1,000%.
But he's, he never got to that point.
Second highest.
Is that what he was?
No, I'm saying he should have been second highest.
Should have been next to Brady. Who has the biggest contract? Mahomes, right? Does he have the most money?
No, I think someone else.
There's the difference in your contract and then the guaranteed money, right? Like, what are the contracts in which conditions come about and which ones don't? Like, because at one time, guaranteed money for quarterbacks was Kirk Cousins. He took a guaranteed like $40 million on like a short he was a genius. It was a fucking genius move on his part. He's like, give me that guarantee. I don't care about and just like, you got to pay him $40 million no matter what the fuck happens. That dude could blow out his knee and you're still writing him checks, which I think is great. But I don't know who has the biggest contract. It's not Dak Prescott has the biggest contract. What, for like a year? Is the money per year? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. I hate to say it. It's kind of worth it, dude. Dak Prescott's the shit.
It's crazy because he got 6 out of, it was like 75 and he got think I can look it up right here. I think he got like 66 as a signing bonus.
Oh my God, dude. What did you, well, he waited that entire time. He gambled, he rolled the fucking dice, dude, and got it. And here's the thing. He's been playing pretty fucking good this year. He's been playing.
He always does.
Good. Yeah, he's great. When he's not injured, man, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I think he's so good. He's a complete package for sure. And I think he deserved it. I'm glad that they paid him and they actually came to an agreement, but he held out and I was like, I don't think this is going to go in his favor. And then looky there. Whatever happened to Deshaun Watson? I have
no idea. I think that was silenced.
You know, the last rumor that I heard was Baker's out, Deshaun Watson's in, that Cleveland was going to make a run at him.
Really?
Yeah. But you know, it's all conspiracy. You know, I follow a lot of like Browns fan pages and stuff.
I mean, here's
just
the thing.
A lot of...
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just got surgery, no?
Yeah.
Baker.
Yeah.
I love Baker, man. I gotta say it. I think that guy's.
I do too, but I don't see it working out. I think.
Yeah, I see him potentially reaching like the NFC, finals, but not even making the Super Bowl. He
just made it just too many mistakes, man. It's too many mistakes with too much firepower around you. That's the argument. Like you could have said Baker last year, one thing, Baker the year before, another thing. But this year it's like, you've got good receivers. You've got a good offensive line. You're just making really dumb mistakes. Like there's no reason for you to be throwing 4 forced interceptions in a game.
Yeah,
like,
that's
just ridiculous. It's just too much. It's, you're losing confidence in your entire team. It's like, well, if Baker's ever under pressure and has to roll out of the pocket, here comes the interception. It's just not good. Just not good. At one time, he was just, when he's on fire, he's on fire. But when he's not, he's not. You know what I mean? He's like a bipolar teenager. Just like when it's up, it's up. When it's down, it's down. You're like, God damn, stop with the ebbs and flows. Just be consistent. That's all we need. It's wild. Anyway,
let's do this.
Let's move on. Okay. So we're going to discuss top favorite cigars 2021. And usually like Chris and I do like this comprehensive list, and we kind of got away from that. We want to do something different this year because I think the whole top cigar thing gets blown out of proportion. We've talked about this before. Like it's just every fucking person on earth who's ever either had a social media account or has done anything on YouTube is like, hey, here's my favorite cigars of the year. So I wanted to do.
And here's my mom's as well.
Yeah. Here's my mom's. Oh, and here's this thing. And yeah, there's like all these like other like weird conditions to it. And it's it just gets to be a little too much. So I wanted to make this a more casual effort. I want to talk about some of the cigars that, at least for me, were most memorable and the ones that were most memorable for you throughout the year. Because, Chris and I, we used to review cigars like on a continuum. We didn't review that many this year. I mean, we did, but not like, usually it's hundreds. And then this year, I think it's like, okay, I reviewed like 50 cigars. It really wasn't anything crazy. But there were certainly ones to me that were most memorable. And I did kind of do a ranking, and I did a ranking of 5. And some of them were like neck and neck close, where I'm like literally going, oh, I could interchange 2 with 3 and 3 with 4 and maybe 2 with 1. So it really was kind of a close call, but I wanted to calibrate with you and say, hey, you've got all this access to cigars and you smoke all the time. What were your favorites of 2021?
Okay, so when you texted me, you said pick out your 5 favorite cigars of the year, right? So for starters, I don't think I can do 5. I wrote.
That's fine. Do 3.
I quit. No, I can do. I'm saying I can't do that little. Yeah, okay, for sure. I wrote down 10 cigars.
Yeah.
As top 10 memorable.
Yeah.
And then I had 5 honorable mentions, which could be as good as, say, the number 1.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
I want to have my number 1 cigar of the year as someone else's cigar, so I put in Serious Tiger, but let's get to it.
Dude, first of all, such a good cigar. Now, I'll be honest with you. I didn't review it, so I can't give it like critical points, but dude, I smoked that cigar so goddamn much. I actually gave one to a friend of mine who's like, I would say a less mature cigar smoker. And I don't mean less mature in terms of like mentality and all that. I mean, like just not as seasoned. And I gave him that cigar to smoke, and he was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And he was like, who is this? And I tried to explain it to him, and he's like, but like, He's like, how do I go down to Party Source or how do I go to Jungle Gyms and pick one up? I was like, well, you don't. If you want more, I'll get you more. But like, then I like had to show him. I was like, this is who makes it. This part of this program. He's like, oh, I get it. It was like he couldn't comprehend that he couldn't just walk into a humor and just go like pick it off a shelf. So
yeah. Well, it's pretty cool because that's the first iteration of that cigar. The second iteration was, I mean, I participated in the second iteration that's going to come out in either next March or April.
Nice.
But that cigar was an old blend that we got to, and by we, I say Henderson and I, we got to that blend because we were trying to fit that profile of a cigar that existed, that it was Williams, his dad's blend, one of his favorite blends since when he was a master blender and Davidoff.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So this essentially was born at his Davidoff time. So I'm going to start with number two. Do you want me to just go like 10, 9?
Yeah. And we can talk about each one of them as you go through them.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and start with the honorable mentions because they're not in the top 10, but they, at the same time they are. Again, I'm not playing favorites. I think everybody that I'm going to mention is just an unbelievable brand and all that. First cigar in the honorable mention category is a cigar that I know you love, is the Rodriguez Primera Clase.
Oh God, yeah.
It is just
yeah.
It's like the Donger on steroids, right?
Yeah, that cigar is absolutely incredible. It's like mouth-watering good, like legitimately mouth-watering good. Agreed.
And it's just so every time you light it up, it's the same experience. It's crazy.
Yep.
Which for some people it's not necessarily a good thing, but for others and most people it is.
Yeah, the consistency around that profile is pretty fucking wild. And in each one, like in different vitolas, like there isn't this huge wide change depending on what vitola you smoke it in. It's like those really bold flavors that you get from that cigar are consistent through each one. It's absolutely incredible. That cigar is fucking unreal good.
It is. So Danny, you're the man.
I like that.
To me, it could be an honorable mention or it could be a number one cigar. Honestly, it's good. It's always going to be one of my favorite cigars.
Yeah, for sure.
Second cigar is a newly released cigar from Villiger, is the Villiger La Libertad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we dropped it in the mild to medium pack, and a lot of people are asking about it. So probably soon enough, we're going to drop it again, maybe in the medium to full packs, or maybe we're not. We'll see. That cigar is a revamp of a brand that Villiger has produced in Europe, has produced in the Dominican Republic, and is now producing in their new factory, new operations in Nicaragua. So that's the first cigar that they're producing in their new factory that is in conjunction with Joya de Nicaragua. It's got that profile just like the Rodriguez. It's very bold. At the same time, it doesn't really kick you. It's bold in flavor, but it has virtually like a medium strength. They promote it as a medium plus, but I'd say it furthest is like a 5.5 out of 10 in terms of strength.
Gotcha.
Just the wrapper is just so beautiful. It's a very attractive cigar. It's just, I think it's fantastic. So that's one of my other honorable mentions.
I've only smoked it once. And it made, I think it was in the recent pack you gave me, and I don't believe I took too much notice, like taking notes or anything like that. I think I just smoked it. And for me, it may have been one of those ones where I was drinking, so I don't remember anything about it. So I'm not even going to
be honest. The cigar, the one that we placed in the packs was the Toro. I think the Corona is just,
that's the titties.
That's the titties.
Nice.
And then another mention, number 3, all Caldwell Lost and Found releases as of late have been fire. Yeah. So there's a few that stand out of the antique lines that we released together. There's a couple that Hunter from Sir Louis released that we didn't get that were also fantastic. I got to smoke them with Robert. Out of my favorites were like the gray 2014 one, the orange, the Mexican short one, Mexican wrappers short one. Then I think.
What was the 15 and the antique? Was that what color label was that? Was that the purple one?
There were 2 15s. There were 3 15s. The purple was insane. That was my third favorite.
Okay, yeah. I think that was the one I liked the most.
Yeah, that was insane. And then the white one, which I don't think was much longer. It's like a 6.5 by 50 Toro or something.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And then we're just shipping them out. The 22 till midnight. These are $25 to $26 cigars, released within the Caldwell lineup. So if people are curious about those cigars, get them now. Get them in the packs. I don't care if you can.
For sure.
Get them now because you're going to be getting them at $6 to $7, and then they're going to go up to 25. Like, there's a lot of people that, ordered through us after and Cigar Yard, the antique lines, and they're like, damn, man, just when are you bringing them back in the packs? Because obviously pack is $35, and then just one of these cigars for the antique lines was like $16, $17, $18. So just beautiful finds. These two that we're releasing, I think aesthetically look even better than the ones before. Like you had a few that had like a little bit of cracked foots and stuff like that, because these are old cigars. Right. But anyway, great job from Robert picking those up. And I'm going to follow up with a release from Avo earlier this year. The Avo Syncro Caribe was a summer release. I know you guys reviewed it, or at least smoked it. Yeah. I really like that cigar. I think it was another cigar from Davidoff just banded with the Avo Syncro Caribe band, because it had a similarity with the old Ritmo, but just a completely different profile from what you saw in the Avo lineup. Just
agreed. Vastly different.
Just an explosion of, and I'm not saying anything bad of the other ones, just this one, just very exotic, very flavorful, just like a mouthful of different flavors, explosion of flavors. I remember just vividly.
One of the things that I said I really enjoyed about that cigar was that it was a summertime release and it was a summertime cigar. Like It was very appropriate for the season. Like that is a season, and even down to the aesthetic. Even if you look at and like just even the branding and the bands on it, like it is very vibey. It's like a summer vibe to it. And it was like, I think, a perfect time to release that cigar, because it's exactly what it entails, is like really a summertime vibe. It's actually one of my favorite Avos in recent time frame, and I'm not a huge Avo fan. I think a lot of them are kind of hit and miss. I love the Ritmo when it came out, but after that, I think everything was just kind of nondescript a little bit. And I'm a huge Davidoff fan. I just saw disparities between brands, but I like that pick. I think it's a good one.
And last but not least, in the honorable mention category, I want to throw in the Tatuaje La Misión L'Atelier, which is an older cigar, but they released a 6x50 this year, which is just unreal. That could very well as be a number one cigar of the year for the pick. Just great job. I can go on and on about Tatuaje and about their consistency and about how, Pete is really into making sure everything's ready to go. Like you won't miss with a Tatuaje. You may not like it, but it won't miss in terms of it won't perform. It's just great flavor, great consistency in that cigar. I thought it was going to be a stronger profiled, but as other iterations of that cigar that I smoked before, but it was like, I want to say like a 6.5 out of 10. Just a beautiful cigar and very consistent.
That's one of those cigars. It's just kind of fun. I mean, not necessarily even that specific Vitola, but just the La Mission across the board is one of those cigars that's always nice to go back to, because it's one of those things where like you explore, you smoke all the time, and then every once in a while you like walk into a humidor and you look at it and you go, yeah, I'm gonna go back to this. Like it's the old tried and true, right? It's like it's the old girl. She may not be the hottest girl on the block. She may not be, the one that's most fancy and dolled up, but goddamn, she gives the best blowjobs you could possibly get. That's that cigar. Like, you're just like, I was like, I don't care. I'm going back to her because she's got a mouth like no other.
Does Lauren watch the episodes?
Nope.
Okay, good.
She doesn't have time for this shit.
All right. I like that. Let's transition into the top 10. It's called top.
Dude. I'm so. Did you do these in order? So you just like down like is number one?
No.
I
just wrote them down, but I'm just gonna say them how I feel in terms of preference.
Okay.
Based on how impactful they were for me this year.
Okay.
So a cigar that I couldn't forget, but I had to put in the list was the Davidoff Dominicana.
Oh, haven't had one.
Oh man, it's what can I tell you, man? It's one of the more exotic profile Davidoffs in their release. You know, they're always criticized on how they're very lineal and whatever, but that hasn't been true for many years. I mean, Davidoff, since they started releasing the Escurios and Nicaraguas, all these modifications to the Millennium blends and stuff like that, like they're really putting into consideration the modern smoker, the modern day smoker. So screw that guy that said, "Hey, I'm just going to smoke Cubans or Davidoffs." Okay, that we have a market for you with the number 2s and the Especiales and what have you. But this new blood in Davidoff has really taken into consideration the boutique blending approach. And you know, I think the Davidoff Dominicana is a fantastic cigar with extremely aged tobaccos from the DR, which unarguably makes the best Davidoff cigars wherever they're made.
Yeah,
so I think that cigar gets number 10. And specifically, there's like a really short cigar, which is like a 45 to 50 minute smoke. It's fantastic. And then coming in at number 9, I want to give it to Villa Casdagli from Casdagli Cigars. Beautiful cigar, great story behind it, but completely different from what they're used to, you know, putting out. I think that they took a risk with this cigar. It's completely different from the traditional line, the Villa Mareva, and all those lines. And I think that cigar is just flavorful. I think it's got these very exotic notes of like peach and like just like weird fruits that you get. It's a very fruity flavor, and I think it's very unique. So I'm gonna give it to that.
Oh yeah.
So coming in at number 8, which is not really number 8, I'm just reading what I have here next to me, is the Aventura Queen's Pearls Lancero.
Oh yeah, dude, those cigars are killer.
I think whenever you get the opportunity to get a very consistent cigar, very enjoyable cigar that is not necessarily for everybody, because it's kind of, you know, just doesn't really say that much just because of how what tobaccos it has in there, and it's not that strong. And then you turn it into a Lancero and then you adjust appropriately. Dude, I have a fucking, I'm not doing cocaine, people. Like a little, maybe like a mosquito or a little ash came up. I know. So, whenever you can do that and modify a cigar and turn it into a Lancero, it immediately gives it obviously a little more kick to it. But then when you adapt the blend to it and make it even a little more bold, then you definitely have a winner. You have a cigar that could be a lot more appropriate for other people as well. Number 7, I think you can definitely get behind this one. Patina Maduro.
Oh God, yeah.
It's a cigar that has been around, but since we placed it in the packs in summer, I think it to me is one of my most memorable cigars. I usually don't like it when it's in my humidor because I know I won't have any other option to select from other things. So I'm just gonna naturally, my hand is gonna gravitate towards the Patina Maduro. I'm gonna have it. Talk about a cigar that will pair so uniquely with certain things. Like we said it as a joke, but I don't think there's a cigar that pairs better with a pumpkin spice latte. You know, however basic that may sound, but that's like the perfect pairing. You know,
yeah, I agree. So I like that.
Cowrich is gonna love this.
Yeah, he's dude. I'll probably see another one at my door like every day for like the next year after you said that. Yeah, you know what's weird too is like, by the way, do what?
Are you having a PSL?
No, it's an Americano with 3 shots, buddy.
Oh, okay.
I can prove it. It says Americano.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I thought was interesting about the Patina Maduro specifically is like it to me is like kind of a fairly quiet release from Patina. And it's one of those ones where it's like you just wish it was out there a little bit more. You know, we try to do as much as we can. And it's not even just a believer in Mo, it's believer in the brand overall. Like I've smoked, you know, between the Habano and the Connecticut, I can't tell you how many of those cigars I smoked. And when the Maduro came out, it's like you want people to kind of understand like this is a very noteworthy cigar. It's like one you should pay attention to, but I just don't think it really got as much steam as I hoped it would get. And I'm not sure how well it's doing in the industry now, but I agree with you in terms of one of those. Patina overall, specifically, if I see them, if I've got them and I'm holding them, I just want to grab one and smoke one. I've always said like the Habano to me is like this all day, every day cigar. Like you could, it does not matter. Like you could have just woken up, your eyes are still barely open. You could pop that bad boy in your mouth. You're going to love it. It could be your eyes are starting to fade. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You're a little bit buzzed, pick up a Patina and you're going to love it. Like it just spans the spectrum of amazing, no matter when you smoke it, where you're at smoking it. Just, it's like a Swiss Army knife of cigars.
Absolutely agreed. And the Connecticut is actually it's my dad's top 3 favorite cigar. The Connecticut, like he
is it really? That's awesome.
Every other day.
That's
I tell Mo all the time.
Yeah, they're absolutely incredible. I like that. I like that was one of your picks. That's great.
Yep. I just want to make a quick point before I move on to the number 6 is that your hoodie / sweater being covered just perfectly by the microphone.
Looks like it says Hitler.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't. It says Hitler.
Okay. Good.
I have a lot of
out there.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you a funny joke. So I have a lot of people like when I wear this.
Yeah.
This is a Theo Von hoodie. It's one of my favorite comedians. And it says, get that hitter. It looks like it says, get that Hitler, which I've had a lot of people tell me. Now, here's an interesting and fun thing. Arguably the most Jewish person I know that I play hockey with grabbed my sweater and put tape on the edges of the T to make it look like it actually said, get that Hitler. And again, the most Jewish person I know. His last name is Bondestittel or Bondis, whatever it is. And he put that on my hoodie and I'm like walking around with my hoodie with it taped up and it actually did say, get that Hitler. And I was like, I cannot do this right now. Yeah, it gets mistaken all the time. So that is actually interesting. I want everybody to know that it doesn't say get that Hitler. Although if it did, I mean, new age, get that Hitler. I mean, think about it. It's very aesthetically cool.
It's like a
Miami feel, right? It's got a Miami vibe to it, you know? They said that's where Hitler retired. So, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So then I could actually come and say, no, it says get that hitter. I would never want anyone to go through the whole episode and go, God damn, is he wearing a Hitler shirt? That's fucking, that's ballsy in 2022.
Wait for the credits to roll down to make sure, hey guys, by the way, I was not wearing a get that Hitler.
Way, not a Hitler hoodie at all.
Good. So I'm going to wrap up that first top 5 with the Warped Chinchale.
Still haven't had it.
What? But it's in one of your packs.
Yeah. I just haven't smoked it. Yet. I need to get to it.
So here's the thing with that cigar. It is not necessarily my cup of tea. It is not necessarily what I usually go for. It is not necessarily what I look for in a cigar. But that being said, it constantly surprises me when I have it. And, you know, I got to give it up for Hostos, who's done a great job year 1 of having his factory.
Yeah, it's cool.
Matthias just rated this cigar number 2 cigar for his top 10 of the year. I'm pretty sure other people have highly regards to the cigar. I don't think aficionado rated it too well. But I think that cigar has a very true profile to what Kyle from Warped usually goes for. So, you know, I want to put it in there just because it's memorable to me in that sense, as in, I know that it's not my profile. I know that it's not usually what I'm looking for, but when I look at that cigar, I gravitate towards having it just because it's performed so well. It's surprised me so well. So I want to kind of leave it at that. And then do you want to start chiming in with your top 5 or do I just like run through the other?
No, you can just keep running through them. I'm waiting for ones to overlap and they haven't yet. So that's why
I'm pretty sure there's at least 1 or 2 there. One is going to overlap for sure.
You think so?
So, yeah. So,
okay. Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
All right. So,
dude, legitimately, that's so
yeah.
Cool.
I know. So number 5, I'm going to go with a Dapper Desvalido, the blue label.
Nice. Yeah.
Just so much flavor. I think it's very different to what we usually had and what usually was released from Dapper, like the Cubo Maduro, the other Cubo San Andres, the what is it? The Quadro? No, the purple one.
That's Sumatra?
Oh, I was talking about the El Borracho, the Cubo, the two Cubos, the two Borrachos.
Right.
This is a very different cigar. And talk about two other cigars that were released that were fantastic as well. The two Siempres, the Siempre Son Grown and the regular Siempre, both are just fantastic cigars. But this one is a little more towards my alley, my area, my comfort zone, and what I usually like to have and enjoy. Just that really bright rosado wrapper with a lot of flavor, a lot of zing to it, but doesn't overshadow the really interesting blend that you have in there. Very detailed blend. It's got like, It even has some USA tobacco in there, probably a little bits of Pennsylvania, which is one of my favorite preferences when I'm blending a cigar. I'm not a blender, disclaimer, but when I'm blending cigars and one day I'm going to be a master blender.
One day you'll be.
No, but honestly, I usually, every now and then that I can throw in half or quarter of a Pennsylvania broadleaf, it gives it a little zap in there that I like. It's like a kick that kind of balances the cigar. So that cigar is, again, an explosion of flavors. I think it's just very uniquely profiled, and I think it's very well executed going out of what Dapper usually does. So that's why I give it number 5. Number 4 is a cigar that I've personally, not even having it in my inventory yet, we will have it for next month, I've purchased boxes. I even told the owner of the I purchase boxes every now and then. I mean, I'll pop up one of the boxes here. So this box is mine, and I have another one in there. This is a cabinet humidor I have. Gatekeeper by Alec Bradley.
Oh, no shit.
Gatekeeper by Alec Bradley, baby. This cigar is...
You'll be so proud of me. I bought 2 Alec Bradley cigars yesterday. One in the Trilogy Maduro, and then the whatever the Asian one is, King Pindingo, whatever that one is. I don't even know.
Well, we have a takeover next month with Alec Bradley, and I think it's really cool. And we made a cigar with Alec Bradley that's going to be released next, and probably May. I want to say May.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah, I love Alec. I love Bradley. They're 2 great guys. So it's more geared towards, working in partnership with them. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in the Alec Bradley Gatekeeper Toro in there, which I think was a late 2020 release, not necessarily a 2021 release. The Kintsugi is a cigar that was, I think, released earlier this year, and it was fantastic, as well as this one. But I just think this is more in my profile.
I think I've had the Gatekeeper once, but that's it. And I don't really remember much about it, but I've been trying to specifically smoke more Alec Bradleys as of recent than I typically would have in the past. So
yeah, I know. And again, I've heard you talk about the brand, and I agree with your approach, but here's the thing. I think the brand's changing a lot with Alec and Bradley having more participation and protagonism. And I think it's being displayed with the different, cigars that they have been releasing and the way that they have been interacting and getting more involved. I really respect the way that, Alan Rubin said, hey, you guys go to school, you will not step foot in here until you get your degrees and whatever, and then you can come in. They came in and They've been loving it. They've been doing a fantastic job. They've been really getting into it. So I think that friendship that was sprouted out of true authenticity wouldn't have been, possible even if I would feel that, they were just, following up to what the brand was. And, I don't want to say something insensitive, but in this, I like that youthness. I like that modern feel. I like that the way that they're, and I've seen it firsthand at their premises, at their office. I love going there. They have a little golf thing upstairs and drinking all the time. But the way that Alan just allows them to run their stuff is amazing. So I think it's a fantastic cigar. Bought a few boxes. That box I actually got from Brad last time I was there. So I run through them like hotcake.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to, I need to go back to the humidor and pick one of those up, because it's weird. Cause I was just rummaging through the humidor yesterday, and next to the gatekeeper was the Kintsugi, which I picked up 2 of those. Which, by the way, so I have reviewed that cigar, but I've not released it. And I will say right here, that cigar, totally objective, right? Like as objective as I could be, without the, there being this preconceived thing of being Alec Bradley, scored it a 91.5. So it's pretty fucking good. I really love, that's why I bought it again yesterday. I'm like, I dig this cigar a lot. It's really, really good. It's exceptional actually. So, and for the price point, you're like, God damn.
It's crazy. And the Corona size is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Agreed. That's actually what I got it in. And that's what I reviewed too.
So coming in at number, I want to say these 2 are in a tie.
Okay.
Because they're very similar in terms of how they perform, but they're very different. They're very different in terms of blend. They're very different in terms of shape. They're very different in terms of wrappers. But I think I'm going to have a tie for 2 and 3 from Crown Heads. Serie E. It is one of the most anticipated releases from Crown Heads this year and probably in the last couple of years. Just beautiful cigar. I love the inspiration from Eddie Van Halen. I love that the care and thought that John and the team took to producing this cigar. And I think every time that I put it in my mouth, it's just it's a surprise because I'm just not expecting it to perform as it does. I'm not saying I'm under expecting or over expecting. I'm just surprised that it's just so good and it's right. Bold and it really fills up my palate. But at the same time, it's not that strong. It's supposed to be strong. It's marketed as it's stronger than it really is, in my opinion.
Right.
And I just think it's fantastic. The consistency, the balance, the different flavor profiles. I think this cigar is a little more filling than the cigar that I think it's tied with, which is a little stronger. And that is the Espinosa Laranja Azulejo. I've been smoking the cigar so much recently.
Dude, that cigar has got some fucking heat to it.
It's got heat. That's a thing. That's the thing. That I really I can smoke anything, man. I grew up. I learned working with cigars, smoking the strong cigar. So I don't necessarily go for them. I don't necessarily enjoy them, but I can smoke. I can run through a couple of those back to back and be okay.
Right.
So that's the thing. When there's a really good, really strong cigar, I can definitely enjoy that as one of my top cigars. And I have a suspicion that it's going to potentially be Cigar Aficionado's number 1, or at least in the top 5.
You think so? You think so?
See,
I didn't enjoy it as much because I thought it was too much to me. And that's just me, just based on characteristics of what I like in cigars. It was too much for me. It was too bold. It was too pungent. It's like one of those cigars, and I smoke a lot of cigars, but man, I that one on an empty stomach is going to make me shit my britches.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
It was just a profile of flavors that, there were certain things that I could extract from the cigar that I really enjoyed, but I thought in terms of completeness, it lacked a little bit for me specifically. Yeah. But you know what? It's weird because it has in some sense remained a bit of a polarizing cigar. I really do think it is kind of a love it or leave it, not a love it or hate it, love it or leave it type cigar. Cause I think most people are going to try it because it's obviously Laranja. So they're going to smoke it. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, I thought it was okay versus like this cigar is absolutely incredible. So you're thinking that the absolute incredible is going to be one that is kind of adhered to Cigar Aficionado. They're going to come out and say, hey, this is at least going to be in the top 5 given what it is.
Yeah, and you got
to
look at their first rating for that cigar and the fact that they haven't really rated a strong cigar in the top 3 in the last, I don't know how many years. So
yeah, what would have been top 3? Like the what was that CAO flathead? The flathead that came out was like 3 back in like 2015, which that thing was supposed to be like super amplified. I thought it was whatever, but yeah, that was an interesting one in the top 3. This was the last time CAO ever sniffed a top 25, I think.
They did that. Well, before that, they did that 2004. So when John was working with
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was forever ago though. I mean, think about how long 2004 was.
Yeah.
That was light years behind us. It's fucking forever.
You can, I mean, if you were born in 2004, this year you become adult.
How fucking crazy is that?
That's crazy.
Oh, it makes me sick to my stomach.
That's crazy.
I'm old as shit, dude.
I remember being a baseball fan and liking the Yankees and being pissed off because the Red Sox broke the curse in 04. That's how old ago that was. Like
I was a junior in high school, 2004. This is so wild. It's so wild. What the fuck? Where's time going? Jesus Christ. By the way, I'm omitting the Serie from my top 5 now because we've already talked.
No.
It allows me an opportunity to bring another one in that was sitting on the fence. So I agree with you. I agree.
I'm gonna send this to John for sure. Oh, by the way, Martina Maya posted I think it was like his number 5 cigar of the year.
Was it Crown Heads?
Yeah, it was a Crown, and I just at John.
Oh yeah. It was the LC, the new LC release. I saw him post it. John's like, the guy hates all my shit.
That should also be an honorable mention to me.
I agree, dude. That one was also dancing on the fence, and I don't think it got talked about enough. And I would also say, before we move on, that the new LC release, whether or not you think it was the best one, and so many people make comparisons from year to year or whatever, which is fine. Especially me. But you and I both talked about ranking the LCs, which I think we still need to do. I think we need to do that because I smoke
about this earlier about doing it again, about getting back to this topic. We can do it.
Yeah, dude, for real, we need to rank the LC ones. I'm 100% in for that. But I will say this recent year release, this year's, I felt just kind of flew under the radar a little bit because there was a lot kind of in that time frame. It isn't I will come out and say it is not my favorite LC. I have a favorite. Yeah. However, I think this one was probably the most unique. It was one of the most unique ones that had come out when it came out. And I don't think it got the credit that it deserved. The uniqueness factor is through the roof. It was really, really good. So different from not only other blends around the time that are coming out in the industry, but just in the Las Calaveras lineup in general was super unique. I really enjoyed that cigar.
You know why I think it wasn't talked about that much? Because one, that cigar was one of the most delayed cigars from them. Yeah. And when it came out, it was sold out like this.
Instantly, 2 hours, wasn't it? It was like, it was just done. It was done and done. Like you couldn't, totally. It was the fastest I've ever sold LCs. Like it was just crazy.
It was announced. As soon as it was announced, I call Miguel. I'm like, Miguel, you better save me a few boxes. He's like, yeah, sure. Oh, never mind. They're sold out. I'm like, yeah, not even box. I'm like, dude, I don't even have a box for myself. I'm like, I don't believe you, but that's okay. I understand that.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, I wonder if you can get them like secondhand at a humidor now because they're still on the shelves for sure.
Oh no, I bought a bunch recently in Casa de Montecristo in DC. So I'm pretty sure if CDM DC, one of the biggest in the area, still has a bunch of those, I'm pretty sure other people do. But they're going to be gone eventually. I mean, this is the kind of the cigar that takes 1 or 2 years to
cycle through. For sure.
Then finally, the El Mysterious Tiger. Again, I don't want to dive into the cigar too much because I don't want to be too biased because it is a cigar made for us. I think the concept, the uniqueness of the profile, I put it number 1 just because I didn't want to have someone else put number 1. And then, I didn't want to have John like a number 1 and,
right.
someone else in number 2 when I think both cigars are as memorable, even though I love John and love everything that Crown Heads does and every other brand that I've actually read through right now. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of cigars that I'm omitting that every cigar that we put in the packs we believe in. So there you have it. That's my selection. Thank you guys for having me. I mean, Cory, have a great day.
And I'm out. Dude, it'd be sweet if you had a microphone to actually drop. That would.
I do.
Oh, there you go. Oh God, yeah. You just drop that bad boy.
I can't drop it. This is like 25 pounds.
Yeah, well, that's a nice mic. I like that. That's dope.
Yeah, it's an Elgato.
Oh, Mr. Roboto. Exactly. I dig it. So first of all, let me reflect back on your list in totality. Very, very, very good list. You only had one cigar that overlapped with me, which is interesting. But I remember I only did a 5. If I did a 15, we'd have definitely had way more overlap, because as you went through like the Patina Maduro, there are cigars and I was like, oh hell yeah, those are overlappers for sure. My 5, which I do have. And here's how I rated my order. So this is interesting. So these are cigars that I've actually ranked and rated in the past. However, I took it a step further and saying, okay, which ones do I reach for the most often? Like that is my criteria. My criteria of number 1 is not necessarily what I rank them at one particular point in time, but how often am I like actually going for this cigar, reaching for it, loving it, and so on. So number 1 on my list, or I guess would be number 5 on my list, which was released this year, was the Plasencia Cosecha 149.
Let's go.
Plasencia fucking hates me, which is fine. Placenta hates me, and that's fine. They can hate me. They don't like any of my shit anymore. They don't repost. So actually, I think they reposted something the other day, which was great. Probably because I didn't say Placenta Coachella. But I am, and by the way, and the head-to-head challenge between them and Rimacraft, which will be the upcoming podcast after this one, which was the round 2 of our brand playoffs, they just inched out Rimacraft barely.
I know. I saw that.
Super like controversial,
right?
Yeah. And it was a lot of hate. By the way, there was like over 300 people that had voted like in each one of those categories, which I was like, holy shit, this is great.
Can you please disclose the hate messages that you were receiving?
You know what? I was honestly thinking about doing it on the podcast and being like, because dude, it was like Rimacraft fans like, how the fuck do people like Plasencia so much? This fucking shit's garbage. And then equal to that is Plasencia fans like, Rimacraft is so one-dimensional. Fuck those people. They have no fucking palate. And I was like, God, how are you people so goddamn
skip haters?
Oh, I think it was mostly skip haters for sure. But yeah, that was a close round. But yeah, so Plasencia Cosecha 149, I thought was an amazing release this year. Hyped to a decent degree, but I think to me it was very much a standout cigar when it was released. And I love Plasencia, and I love the use of the Honduran tobacco specifically in this cigar. I think it gave it another dimension that some of their other cigars don't have. I just felt it was super complete. So I really like that cigar. I was a huge fan, enjoyed it to the highest degree. So there you go. Plasencia Cosecha 149 would be my number 5. You probably, I don't know if you're going to hate me for this. I feel like you're going to hate me for this.
Oh, I already know.
I feel like you're going to hate me for this.
I already know.
I don't think you know.
Yeah. Is it a General cigar?
Is it what?
Is it a cigar from General Cigar?
No. So it is actually, so I smoked the cigar. When I first smoked it, I was like, wow, this is very unique. I like the characteristics of the cigar. And that is, and comes in at number 4, the Dissident Soapbox.
I love those cigars.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't mention them. I think, dude, I don't know what it is about this cigar that's so goddamn good. And obviously Dissident is now owned by, what the fuck is
Cynthia?
Yeah. So it's owned by her. Does her husband also own it, or is she like the sole owner?
Yeah, no, them. They're both.
They're both together, right? Which I think is kind of cool because they have that vibe all tatted up.
For sure.
Neck, fucking.
But it's interesting. I've seen her post, and like she's only tatted up from like neck up, or like maybe like a few in her arms.
What do the 3 dots mean? I've never asked her before.
I have no idea, but it's super cool.
Yeah, so I think there's on her neck. I think his is on his neck too. That means something. I forget what the whole thing is, but there's like other people that do it. I think it's a culty kind thing, which is fine. It could be culty. It's fine. But I think that cigar is so good. Brazilian tobacco, Ecuadorian tobacco, Nicaraguan tobacco. It's such a good utilization of really good tobaccos. I thought it was just absolutely outstanding. Didn't get talked about enough, but I think is super, super good. So I'm hoping they take that cigar to another degree, because for me, it was a super standout. Like, I'm out of them now. I bought 10 of them. And then it's like, now that I don't have them, I'm craving them. So it's like, that has to be in my top 5. So for me, I think the Dissident Soapbox was awesome. And actually, I think I rated it pretty high. Yeah. 94. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. When do I ever do that? Never. Yep. It rarely ever happens.
I'll give you quick feedback on that. 1, I've loved every single Dissident cigar that I've had. 2, I wanted to work with them a while back, and previous owner wasn't ready for it, but we were going to, revisit our talks. So I'm hoping. Actually, they followed us as soon as they bought it. Like one of the first.
Really?
Yeah, the sale got announced. And like 2 days later, I saw that they were followed. This and Cigars official was following us. So I think that's pretty cool. Maybe there's an interest there. I'm going to reach out very soon again to kind of like get those talks going back again. And second thing that I want to say that the general comment, well, I have nothing against General, it's an inside joke that we have with one of the cigars that General released. Please don't say it. I don't want to get in trouble.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, good. It's a great company. It's a great company.
Yeah, sure. No, you know what? You know what's interesting is I can't say too much, but
I love Macanudo, by the way.
I have to say this, just General Cigar in general. Weirdly enough, I have to play nice now for a whole nother reason, which will be disclosed.
I know.
In a little bit. I gotta play nice. I gotta play science. I gotta play nice in the sandbox. But let's get back to the soapbox. See what I did there? Smooth transition. Nice little segue. Yeah, I thought the dissonant soapbox was awesome. Didn't get talked about enough. I really hope it gets the attention it deserves. And maybe just through my cigar pack, you'll help it kind of traject even past what it's been. But remarkable cigar. I think it was fucking fantastic when it came out. So that brings me to, let me go back to my list. That brings me to my number 3, which I just recently reviewed, and you can check that out on YouTube now, is the Foundation Cigars Tabernacle Havana Seed, Connecticut, number 142, David. Longest fucking goddamn name in the world. I don't know how many syllables are in that. It's probably 17 syllables. Drives me nuts. Fucking change the name. Do something with it. But I think this cigar and this Vitola is absolutely incredible. Dude.
I was going to add it, by the way.
Were you?
Yep.
Dude, it is unfucking. I was searching high. I drove 45 minutes south to pick up this cigar. And then my home humidor called me literally 20 minutes later because I called him. I was like, hey, do you have this cigar in yet? I really want to review it. I love the Vitola. It's magic. Like, I want to smoke this cigar. And then, sorry, Cory, we don't have it in yet. I'm sorry. Just like, we're supposed to get it soon. We put it on order, the whole thing. So I drive 45 minutes south. So as soon as I buy it at a place 45 minutes south of me, they call me and they go, hey, guess what? We just got 2 boxes in. I'm like, you motherfucker. So then I drove an hour and 20 minutes north to go back to their place.
Why do you do that? We have it. I still have a bunch of them.
Well, I didn't know. It's
not a bunch, but I have a few.
What am I just going to like hit you up every like, hey, do you have this? You have this? And 2 seconds. Like,
no, why not?
Yeah, but then that's just, it's a hassle for everybody and it's close and it's local. I don't want to make it a pain in your ass. But anyway, the cigar, outrageously good. I like the original release of it. I love it in this Vitola. I love that it's just meaty, beefy. First of all, I love Perfecto's, one of my favorite Vitolas that never smokes well. It's one of my favorite Vitolas that always fucking smokes like shit. I love the Vitola so much and it smokes like fucking garbage every time, but I can't get past the way that it looks. And I love that when you get into the meat of it, it smokes so good. I don't even care if it's a wonky burn. It's fucking fantastic. That cigar, the flavors of it, I think are just exacerbated beyond like in the original release. There's just so much of that good filler in there. Absolutely incredible. Dude, that cigar, and there's a lot, dude, I've had people like, there's no flavor in that cigar. I'm like, you fucking have COVID permanently. Like you're nuts. You're nuts if you think there's no flavor in the cigar. It's insanely good. So I really like that. I think it's nice place into the number 3 spot. I think maybe you may be a little surprised by my number 2, but I'm hoping.
By the way, I completely agree with number 3, and I was very close to adding it. I just
it only fit so much in there, huh?
No, I just did. Yeah, exactly. I just didn't. It was gonna be it wasn't even gonna be in the honorable mention list. It was gonna be like a number 11 in
in your top,
like the top 10. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll edit and interchange it. We'll just forget what you said previously and we'll just throw that in there. Okay. I just think it was such a cool Vitola and awesome release. So at number 2, and this is a fairly quiet brand, but has taken notice this year. And that's the Lampert 1675 Edition Azul. That cigar to me, I have smoked that cigar so many goddamn times this year. It's unfucking real. Like it is such an amazing cigar. It's so consistent. Every time I smoke it, no matter where I'm at, what the mood is, what I'm drinking, what I'm doing, it always performs. So for me, I look at this cigar and I go, there's no way this can't be in my top 5. Has to be in my top 5 for this year. I love this cigar so much. And I remember when I gave one to Chris, because he's like, who the fuck is this? Because Chris is just like, he's like in terms of like the cigar community as a whole and like understanding blends and what's coming out. Like Chris learns from me. Like most of the time it's like, hey, have you heard of this? And look at this. Like he doesn't like go through cigar news like I do. So when you give him something, it's like a new treat, right? He's like, who is it? I don't even know who the fuck this is. And then he smoked it. He was like, holy shit. Incredible cigar. Such a good release. I'm really excited to smoke other stuff from them. And I know I think they have a new release that came out not that long ago, which I'm pretty interested in.
The long one?
Is that what it is?
No, it's like a 9 1/4 by something. It's a long cigar.
Oh, that's not it. What's the one that's like black and gold? It's like a black and gold band.
Oh, yeah.
It may not be newer, but I think it's
not new, but they released a Vitola that's like a kind of like a Salomon that they place in the box, like inverted.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think it's that one you're thinking.
Okay. Maybe I am. Yeah. But such a good cigar. Like and it makes me really excited for stuff that they're going to be bringing out in the future for sure. As my number one, which this is a cigar that I've loved for a long time, but found myself smoking it a lot this year, as much as I possibly could. It's not the easiest cigar to find in the world. And that's the Sereno Royale 20th anniversary Maduro XX. That cigar is literally candy in my mouth.
Sereno.
Yeah.
From like Sereno, from Carson Sereno. Yeah. Okay.
So I actually, So
I haven't had that cigar actually.
It is unreal. So I actually got a chance to sit down with Carson. It was after the pandemic started for sure. Cause it was like springtime. Maybe it was last spring. And chilled with him here in Ohio. And he gave me a handful of these bad boys, which I had already had them before. And dude, this cigar is to me on another fucking planet. Just me. It's my opinion.
I love it.
Take it or fucking leave it, but on another fucking planet. I think this cigar is so goddamn good. It's like every time I have it, I'm like, it's just like re-releases these insane endorphins in my body that make me so horny I could fuck through a brick wall. That's how much I love this cigar. It's that good. Great. And not really talked about that much, which is very fucking disappointing to me because it's so fucking great. I love this cigar. I'm a huge fan.
I think Sereno brand in general isn't talked about that much, which I think is a bummer.
It's crazy.
It's fantastic.
It really is a bummer. Yeah. So I met with him and Dave at one of our local cigar lounges here because he was with Dave in Cincinnati for whatever reason. I don't think they were probably doing something with Cigar Club. And we met and we smoked and we chilled and he gave me a handful of these bad boys and dude, it's on another level. But I agree. They don't get talked about enough and it deservingly so, just based upon how much I love them. I was like, yeah, it's got to be my number one. It's the one that's most memorable to me that I smoked this past year. So there you go. That's my number one. Sereno Royale 20th anniversary Maduro XX. I feel good. I feel like I finally got
that's a great list.
I feel like I just got like everything off my chest. Like all this stuff builds up in a year and I'm just like, it's exhausted now. I don't have to worry about it. And then it makes me curious. It's like, what's Chris's top list? It's like, what is he like? But guess what? We're not going to fucking find out because I'm not doing this episode again. This is a one. Did you
ask him though? Did you ask him to provide a list so we could?
No.
Do you want to call him right now?
No.
He's you want to bury that.
He's sick. No, you get one chance at a top list and that's all you get. But dude, I love, what I like about this? There's a lot of diversity in this combined effort of yours and I's. Really only one or two cigars that overlapped, which is kind of crazy. And here's the thing. To me, I hate structuring like a top 25 because really who gives a shit about anything outside of a top 10 or a top 5? That's why I'm like, I love that you did honorable mentions. Like, and that's if you were to say, hey, these are honorable mentions, I think that's great. I think a top 10 is kind of where the meat's at. I think just in anticipation for like Cigar Aficionados top 25, which usually everybody looks at, everybody reads. I'm going to look at it now. There's certain I'm going to criticize certain things as far as what gets in, published in the top 5 or top 10. But for the most part, I think a lot of people just look at it and say, okay, well, if it's not in the top 10 or if it's not in the top 5, who really gives a shit? But I would argue that typically in Cigar Aficionado, your bottom 5 or bottom 10 are usually the best. That's what I'm just going to leave that there. That's typically what I see. What do you think? So you thought this year, the new Laranja is going to be at least in the top 5, but be your number one. In terms of cigar aficionado, what other ones do you think will rank in the top 5? Like, what do you think their top 5 could potentially be?
I mean, I haven't looked into it, but you can guarantee yourself that you're going to find a Padron in there. You're going to have a Fuente in there.
Do you think Oliva will also?
There's 1,000%. There's a, and you know what? Rightfully so.
I love Oliva, dude. Trust me.
Serie V is a cigar that should always be a top 25.
It's always. So incredible. It's so incredible. Like Oliva never needs to do
25 list. I mean, no joke.
They never need to do anything again. And Oliva, they've created one of the best cigars that's ever hit the market by far. Like it is such a goddamn good cigar. Like you cannot deny. Anybody who hates Oliva just hates the fact that they're in Cigar Aficionado's top 25 every year. But I think undeniably it is such an amazing cigar. Yeah, I think you'll see a Padron in there for sure. You'll see a Padron, maybe an iteration of a Fuente, which who knows? I mean, it's somewhere sprinkled in the top 10. But I am kind of curious to see. I'm curious to see what's going to land in the top 10 though. Like really the top 10. It'll be interesting. It's all about who's got that spending money. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
No,
yeah, you said it. I didn't. Alex said it. All right, man. So, hey, what do you have coming up for 2022? Are we in 22? It's 22, right? It's 2022. It's kind of weird saying 2022. 2021, 2020 sounds fine. But when you get into 2022 and there's like there's 3 T's in there, it's too much, too many T's.
A lot of titties. We got a takeover from Alec Bradley. That has been worked on for a while. Sweet. Going to release now in February. We have another cigar that's going to release from them later on in the year. March, we have a couple releases, and we've got the Donga.
The old Donga.
I don't know if we're going to say it right now, but we've got something very special cooking.
Something very special coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be spaced out in between March and April, and we should have a call very soon regarding plans, strategy, timeline, content.
Is our other person still alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He actually called me like 2 days ago. I haven't called him back. I have to call him back.
Okay.
But yeah, we got the Tigers 2.0.
Hell yeah. That's exciting.
Made by a different manufacturer with two-tone Habano barber pole.
Oh, no shit.
Dope.
You're doing a two-tone?
Yeah, I'm doing two-tone.
Dude, that's dope. Are you keeping the same, or is like going to be a different variation of like the band, or are you keeping consistency around that?
Same band, but we may throw in different colors.
Dude, I think, okay, I was just going to say that, and you can do whatever you want, but I'm like, the band to me aesthetically is one of the coolest, not only in the boxes, but the band itself, I think is just done so well. But I was thinking like, dude, if you just did different colors, because it's so bright and it pops and it's that neon kind of feel, kind of like my hoodie.
Yeah.
It would be dope if you did that. It would be so fucking, because all you have to do is kind of scramble some colors.
That's it.
It would still look amazing.
Literally what we're going to do.
That's fucking awesome. That's so exciting. And a barber pole too. That's fucking sweet. Hell yeah. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and then we got other brands that they're gonna come in for the first time. We've got pretty much half the year set, all the way to beginning of summer, and then other things that we're gonna work. I mean, there's new projects, new ideas, new things that are down the pike, and just need some tweaking, and they're gonna be ready to go.
Hell yeah, man! 2022 coming off to a fucking hot start.
Let's do it.
It's going to be a good year. It's weird. It's just like, okay, we're talking about like, 2020 kind of sucked, 2021. And I think part of it too, and this is for the listeners, the year is what you make it, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think a lot of it is like the world has suffered. But I think if you take personal responsibility and minimizing that suffering and not dwelling on the things that you can't be a part of, or the things that are a hindrance given, the pandemic and so on. If you really take some time and not only work on yourself, but you can work on things for other people as well. There's humanitarian efforts, the whole thing. Like there's a lot, I think there's a lot, seriously, and it's not Thanksgiving, to be thankful for, and what how you can, I would say, be better as a human outside of more challenging times. Like I don't, me personally, I didn't sit on my hands for the past 2 years and go, oh, poor me. You know, I was like,
Yep.
I still got shit I got to do. I think things I want to accomplish. And I know actually you're the same way. And there's a lot of people out there, but it's, you know, in the outcome of adversity, there's a lot of positives too. So, and guess what, dude? Fucking still breathing. That's the great thing.
Yep.
COVID hadn't got me yet. And it didn't get you either. Ain't got me. Ain't got you. Ain't got Chris. Other shit's got Chris. He's got diarrhea, you know, coming out his pores, but not that COVID monster.
Agreed. I can agree more. I mean, personally, I think I've made the best out of the last 2 years. I think the last 2 years for me personally, not even with work-wise, my cigar pack stuff have been pretty good. And I don't see that in a, again, insensitive tone or approach. I think we took what we were handed and we made the best of it. And of
course,
I personally had a great 2 years.
Hell yeah.
So,
yeah. Nothing will slow you down though. They ain't nothing going to slow you down. Are you still CrossFitting, by the way?
I was injured and then I picked it up like a week before I flew back to DR. So yeah, I'll pick it up next week. So Monday I pick it. I have a new year, like fitness plan. So I'll do lifting Mondays, CrossFit Tuesdays and Thursdays, and yoga, stretching Wednesday, and then any cardiovascular oriented activity Friday, which is going to be like tennis, running, something like that. So I want to work out 4 days of the week, no excuses, not even if I'm traveling. So I'll replace CrossFit with just going to the gym or running if I'm traveling. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I'm back next week.
Was your injury from CrossFit?
No, I have always had lower back problems because of my posture growing up and playing sports. So my lower discs were really badly compressed. So I essentially have no cartilage between L4, L5, S1, which is very common, but it's more aggravated when you're like athletic and you do sports and you're constantly compressing your spine. Right. So I first injured it 2012 very intensely. So I stopped going to the gym and lifting for a couple of years, and I picked it back up, and then I re-injured like a couple of years ago, and then I re-injured it again for the third time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's bad. But you know, yoga, stretching, a lot of hydration usually helps. So my advice to anybody out there listening who may desire any advice from a lower back injury is that if you're going to do any type of exercise, whether literally even like sex, honestly, just like stretch before any physical activity that you're going to use you're going to do, stretch, just stretch.
Could you imagine bringing like a new date back to your place? And you're on the floor stretching and she's going, what the fuck did I get myself into? He's like, hang on. You got to give me like 5 minutes just to like work some shit out. And she'd be like, what the fuck? What kind of intense sexual positions are you in?
That's great. No, honestly, if you're going to go out, just like drop down, touch your toes, look at your knees, you know, like a little stretching.
Yeah. What's interesting is I typically I don't stretch before I lift most times, which is fucking terrible. Or
I used to do that. It's horrible.
It is horrible. But like before hockey and after, a stretch machine. It's like, why do I do it for this thing and not for this other thing that I do both equally throughout the week?
Yeah, but here's the thing. You approach hockey differently. You approach hockey as something that you like doing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go off on a limb here.
That's a good point.
And assume that you potentially don't really get motivated to go to somewhere that you're going to be yelled at Karen for being 5 minutes on a tricep machine, right? So
100%.
I'm the same way. I hate the gym. I actually hate being.
It sucks. Me too. It's the worst. I think you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right. That's exactly
the best therapy for me. I think it's just if I didn't go to like the weeks that I don't go to or days that I'm supposed to work out and I don't work out, people hear it from me. Like, my attitude is different.
Your attitude changes. Me too.
Because I can't release. I can't release all that accumulated stress. I don't get that dopamine and endorphin rush that I usually get.
Dude, you nailed it right on. That's exactly what it is. You should be my therapist because that's exactly what it is. Because I never understood. I'm like, I always stretch before hockey and I never stretch before I lift. Why is that? And it's because I fucking hate lifting. That's exactly what it is. Or I don't hate lifting. I hate being at the gym. That's what it is.
So I personally found a way that I find stretching kind of not annoying prior to going to the gym. I just don't do it at the gym. So what I do is before leaving to the gym,
just stretch at home.
I just drop down home. I grab a book. I put a light on top of the book and I read my book for like 15 minutes while I'm stretching.
Oh, that's nice.
And I feel like I'm not like, if I drop and stretch with nothing in my hands, I'll either be on Instagram, which sucks because I don't want to be on Instagram or wherever. I'd rather be learning or actually making my mind like operate and run and think. So that way, so when I get up and I'm leaving, I'm already like, my blood is pumping. I feel warmed up. My joints are kind of loose. I'm like, okay, perfect. So when I get to the gym, I do like a 5-minute stretch. I'm good to go.
And then you just hit it. That's actually a good idea. And I never do that too. Why do I not stretch at home? Makes no fucking sense.
There you go.
I have all this room to stretch. I could literally stretch anywhere and I don't do it. God, I'm an idiot. Anyway. All right. I think, dude, what a fun episode. And thank you for coming to my rescue, because otherwise it would not been had near, I always thought, I was like, well, what if I had to do an episode by myself? I'm like, there's no way. There's no fucking way I could just talk to myself.
I'm always happy to come in.
I know, dude, you were literally like, it was funny because when I texted you yesterday, you were like, hold on, let me check my schedule. And then literally 3 seconds later, like, yeah, man. I'm like, that's fantastic. That's the best response ever. So thank you. I'm glad I was able to put out the bat signal and you responded. So I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. Man. Thank you. We do have, I'll need you for an episode coming up in like the next 4 weeks too. Actually, there may be a couple. So, don't go anywhere too far. Hang tight.
I won't. If I do, I'll bring my computer with me. I'll for sure.
Good. And your 25-pound mic. All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it as always. Have a wonderful weekend and chat with you soon.
You too, bud. Thank you for having me.
See you, my friend. See everyone. This will conclude episode 225. We'll be back here next week with 226. See y'all. Bye. See you, buddy.
Yeah.